First, in terms of our post-game evaluation, we j- we weren't very good on either end of the floor, but our lack of offensive execution, poor ball handling, spacing, ball movement, decision making, really stressed our defense. And we're on our heels all night long. Couldn't get our defense set. When we got it set, we just didn't move well. So, just one of arguably our worst performance of the year during an SEC game on the road. So, we have a lot of room for improvement. Georgia is a huge team, one of the bigger teams in the SEC. Tom Crean, obviously, in his first year, he has a terrific track record, so he knows what he's doing. But when you're in your first year, sometime with these jobs, it's a transition year, and you're trying to get your culture set. They've lost some close games, lost a close one at home to South Carolina, a game that they could have won. They did a really nice job of representing the SEC and the SEC Big 12 Challenge by scoring 98 points and beating Texas. So, independent of their record, they're a dangerous team. We haven't had much success against them. Obviously, another one bad performance for us last year against them at Georgia. So, we got to be ready to play. We got to be ready to rebound. This team has 44 rebounds, offensive rebounds in their last two games. Claxton, who starts at center, floats around with their offensive system, and he'll actually play some point guard. So don't be surprised if you see him handling the ball and bringing the ball up the court, which puts your defense in a bind sometime. But we got to be ready to respond. We've had a tough schedule in the SEC with these first 8 games. We have basically what I call 2 seasons left. We break our seasons into 5 games. So we have 2 5-game seasons left, and that's going to dictate what the third season looks like in the SEC tournament and on from there. So that's all I got for you guys right now.
All right, thank you, Coach. Let's start with Cecil on the back left.
Coach, one issue, and I understand it's his first year, but one issue that Georgia's had is that they also turn the ball over really more than your team does.
More than our team?
Mm-hmm. They do. Do you press? How do you when a team's in that situation? How do teams defend you, and how do you defend teams that have done that?
I just think extending your defense is always the way to go. We extended ours probably too late in the last game, and we just have to do it more. If we're going to have a 9-10 man rotation, we should be able to extend our defense. Try to create some more turnovers. Our steals are down this year. Obviously, we're turning the ball over at a high rate, and we did in the last game. But we got to figure out a way to get more deflections, more steals, and I think the way to do it is to extend your defense and try to mix up your defenses a little bit more to try to keep offenses off balance. But the way to do that is you got to take care of the ball, have great spacing on offense. Hopefully they'll be taking the ball out of the net, or we're at the free throw line, which gives us a chance to do all of those things.
Let's go in the middle, back row, Reiner.
How do you think Kyra Lewis has handled the SEC grind, and how do you handle his minutes, given the fact that he is having to transition to the college level and the physicality of everything at this stage?
He's 17 years old, so he can run all day. So we try to manage him like we manage all of our players, but I think he's done awfully well. He's been a bright spot for us. Now he's being scouted a lot more than he did when he came from Hazel Green. And we're deeper in the conference, and people watch more film on you and trying to figure out ways to, keep him in his weaknesses and not in his strengths. He garners a lot of attention from defenses, and we have to figure out ways to put him in better position to succeed, which is obviously will help our team. But I think from a physical standpoint, if that's kind of the basis of your question, I think he's holding up physically. He's doing a nice job in the weight room. Obviously, he's gained some weight. He may not look like it to you, but we see the before and after of when he arrived in August, and he's stronger and he's getting better. And but he's a guy that we think is in phenomenal shape.
Just to follow up, I mean, Dante mentioned that, he had to eat a lot, obviously, to kind of get up to SEC level. Is that the same with Tyra?
Absolutely, yeah. A big part of his deal is nutrition. Huge part. Amanda does a great job with him, our nutritionist, and he cooperates because he understands that it doesn't help Alabama, but it helps him for his own individual career.
Go all the way back left corner to Joe.
Avery, earlier Dante said that he feels like you guys are playing better right now at this time in the season compared to last year. As a coach, what do you feel like the identity of the team is right now, 8 games into the conference schedule?
Well, our identity is we're a much better offensive team. We're a deep team. We're an offensive team. Before these last couple of games, we were outstanding rebounding team, but we've had some slippage there. But we're a fast team. We're one of the fastest teams in the SEC. When we're out and running on the break, all of the analytics show that, we can get up and down the floor. So I just think, we got to use our quickness, our speed, our length on the wings to our advantage. Outside of this last game, we were playing some decent basketball, even still inconsistent. But, you look at games that we've had, whether it's A&M at home or Tennessee on the road, Baylor on the road, they were all winnable games, independent of what happened. Kentucky early in this SEC play. So we still need more buy-in so that we can have more consistency.
What's the standard that you'd like to see the guys play at over these next 5 games? You called it a 1 season, or, 2 seasons.
Yeah. Without saying, in the next 5 games we have to have a certain record, and the second season we got to have a certain record. I just want to see us become more efficient, assist to turnover ratio. I want to see us win the rebound game. I want to see us, take quality 3-point shots and make them. I want to see us, when we have a point of emphasis on defense, of trying to minimize the success of a particular player in a situation, that we would give maximum effort and trust that this is what we need to do to have success. And I just think if we do that and we have a high rating on defense, which we didn't have a high rating in the last game, we'll have a chance to beat anybody.
Jump over to the right side to Alex.
Bryce Brown, after the Auburn game, mentioned in film review they had seen some inconsistencies with the ball handling, how they said y'all were loose with the ball, driving to the basket and certain things like that. Were y'all able to identify that and make certain corrections? And what do you ultimately attribute to some of the mistakes, the turnovers? 21, you said yourself, that's the most this season, but you can't do that anywhere, really.
Yeah, it's just fundamentals. 2 hands on the ball, 2-foot jump stop, a couple of travels, a couple of careless travels, ball security. 2 hands is better than 1. Strong with the ball, reading defenses, great spacing, all of those things. So, and again, every time we go down there, when we haven't been successful, there's always something kind of magnified or said about, our team. But the great thing about it is, that particular team, we'll play them again, and hopefully we'll play much better. But in the meantime, our focus is on taking care of the ball against Georgia and giving ourselves a chance to get quality shots at the basket. Because when you turn the ball over 21 times, that's 21 times you didn't get a free throw, you didn't get a layup, a 3-point shot, an offensive rebound. There's so many things that can happen in those 21 opportunities.
You've mentioned before.
Talk up a little bit the air.
And to follow up, you mentioned before how Kyra, especially reaching in SEC play, had to learn how to attack and not just, that was a process. How much of some of that is still him making that adjustment, understanding what he can do in a crowded environment like that in the paint, or, where he can't just make some of the passes he used to make? Yeah,
I just think it's, understanding how to manipulate the defense, and that's not the easiest thing for a 17-year-old kid. And showing him where the open spots are, showing him how to keep the defense off balance. When you get in the crowd, there are one or two things that you should be thinking about. And then, hey, he can shoot the basketball. So there are times, if you're open, you have the freedom to shoot it. Every time you shoot it, we think it's going in.